Hi, my name is Nguyen Nguyen, and I'm Vietnamese American. I was born in Nha Trang, Vietnam.
My name is Nick, and I'm Korean American. I was born in Honolulu, Hawaii.
My name is Lily Ho, and I am Chinese American. I was born in the Swedish hospital, actually, here in Seattle. So I've been here all my life.
Hi, my name is Stephen Uy. I am currently a student at University of Washington. My parents are Chinese, but they were born in Cambodia, so I sort of have this Chinese and Cambodian and American heritage in me. I'm currently a junior at the University of Washington. I'm studying international studies and French, and hopefully, eventually, I hope to end up in immigration law.
So my family and I came to the United States in 1975, pretty much the day of the fall of Saigon, April 30th. We resettled in Spokane, Washington for 4 years, and then moved to Portland, Oregon, where I pretty much grew up in school and high school. We lived in a pretty homogenous white neighborhood, so there weren't a lot of Asian Americans, not too many Vietnamese. The students I grew up with who were Asian or Vietnamese were actually had white American names. You know, they were actually, turns out they were adopted, which I didn't really understand until I went to college. So I always felt probably a little bit different. You know, if I had friends who came over to my house, I'd feel a little bit embarrassed because I thought it smelled like fish sauce, or, you know, I thought my parents didn't speak English. So I tried not to have too many people over. Kind of kept my life, my family life, pretty private, and also my friends from school, I kept them pretty separate from my family. So I really tried to live in two different worlds, being in a Vietnamese household, but also being really, really American at heart. So I slowly learned when I got to college about the so-called Asian American experience, and that helped me understand my my upbringing and my experience a lot better.
I was born in Seattle, Washington, born and raised in the South End. Went to school down there. Eventually, I ended up in middle school up north, Hamilton Middle School, and then from there I went to Roosevelt High School. And about in the middle of my high school life, I moved over to the East Side, actually, so I spent part of my life over in East End. Growing up in America has been a very awesome experience, I have to say. I mean, with my household, we have this sort of mélange of cultures, I guess you could say. My parents are Chinese, they grew up in Cambodia, so we sort of have this Cambodian culture mixed in with Chinese culture at the same time. And so growing up in America, I've been able to experience that, along with American culture. But not only that, I mean, going to school in my neighborhood, it was just a mix of all these different people from all around the world. I mean, you have your South Africans, you have South Asians, you have your Europeans, and yeah, it was a great experience.
Well, actually, I spent the first 7 years of my life in Hawaii, and the majority of my developing years overseas, and the last 2 years in the States.
So growing up in the U.S., it's a little different, I think. As a child, even when I was young, I always felt like I was never actually Chinese, but never quite American. Even with my classmates who might not be also Asian, but if they were several generations here, then it would be different. And it was kind of a place where I had to figure out who I am, and I went through that period probably in middle school and high school kind of, and I liked reading about Asian American authors and their biographies and what it's like kind of being torn in that identity crisis. I actually speak fluently Cantonese at home, and I took Mandarin in college, and of course I speak English since I grew up here. And I also studied a little bit of Japanese and French when I was in high school.
I speak English, and I also speak some Vietnamese. I can understand it a lot better than I can speak it, and I learned a little bit of French.
I speak English and a little bit of Korean, and I guess I understand some Spanish.
At home, we speak a multitude of languages. I grew up speaking Chinese first, actually, and about a few years after that, I began to learn English. And at the same time I was learning English, I learned Cambodian as well. So I guess you could say I spoke about 3 languages at home, Chinese, English, and Cambodian. And as I got a little older, my father speaks French as well, too. So I started learning French, and by the time I was in middle school, I was somewhat fluent, but, you know, enough to carry a conversation. My parents speak more languages than I do, actually. My father knows some Thai, along with other dialects of Chinese, and my mother knows other dialects of Chinese, too. So for me, languages have always been, you know, something that's been a great, great part of my life, and, you know, just creating who I am at the moment.